Good morning, world. This is the first Sunday in December, December 6th. Welcome to the Sacred Journey of Life, Spiritual Center and Healing Order. My name is Michelle Sailing, if we haven't met. And I want to introduce you to some words, some thoughts from the Coltrane Bible, from John Donahue, and some messages that probably will get snuck in between Mother Mary, who's here today, and a few of the angels. So good morning. So to get ourselves set up, if you would just be in a calm, quiet pace, and if you're watching from your cell phone, if you turn the ringer off or down or mute it so it doesn't disturb your viewing, what we want to do is just begin with a few breaths to center ourselves. Just take some few breaths and bring in the golden light of spirit down through your energy bodies to the floor and back out again. And as you exhale any shadow, stress, grimness from your body, and take in again more golden light. Energize yourselves physically, as I hope the messages are going to energize you spiritually. So, one breath, exhale. Two, exhale. And three. Thank you. The opening prayer. If a small number of people gather lovingly together with absolute purity and sanctity, with their hearts free of the world, experiencing the emotions of the kingdom and the powerful magnetic forces of the divine, and being at one in their happy fellowship, that gathering, this gathering, will exert its influence over all the earth. The nature of that band of people, the words they speak, the deeds they do, will unleash the bestowals of heaven and provide a foretaste of eternal bliss. Sacred writings. Now, the intent of the message, as was said in the little ad or note that I put up to post the event, the intent of this life, Spirit, Mother, Christ want you to know, is to be whole, not holy. And so we're going to speak to your outer and inner life and just take a look at what's there, what's possible, and actually maybe give you a few tips on some actions. Tell us how we may best serve God, the man said to Jesus, and Jesus replied, talk not of serving God as you would a king. In serving God, man serves himself. You ask in your heart, shall you be this or that or a priest? Let your own heart point the best way, and having chosen it, follow it with devotion and fortitude. The good life, the outer life. From the Book of Wisdom, chapter 12, entitled The Good Life, from the Coltrane Bible. Life is not altogether a valley of sorrow, neither is it meant to be a grim, unending struggle. Man is born into the world to make the best possible use of earthly conditions. And this does not mean that effort should be concentrated exclusively on the achievement of spirituality. Things must be kept in the right perspective and a proper balance achieved. It is unwise to let thoughts dwell exclusively upon the spiritual realm. And this was never intended. Only its reality and ultimate attainment should be ever borne in mind. Man is to make the most of conditions as he finds them and get all of the happiness he can from life within the framework laid down in the sacred books. Not only must he make the best of earthly conditions, but he must also improve them so that more happiness may be gained. Though this may appear to serve only an earthly end, it is not entirely the case, for in the effort lies the spiritual development. Earthly conditions are not to be accepted passively, for every man has a duty to make some improvement, however slight, upon the earthly state of things. While permitted to seek the greatest amount of happiness, man must bear in mind that the search must not extend beyond the bounds of his duties and responsibilities. When seeking spirituality and knowledge of the spiritual realm, man must remember that there are limitations as to what he can experience. The purpose of earth must and will be maintained with all of its lack of stability and certainty. No mortal man will ever know for certain what the coming year will bring. The amount of spiritual experience and enlightenment permitted any man is just sufficient so as to not upset the balance of his life or nullify his earthly existence or the efforts he's making in his earthly existence. This is a fact which should be clearly understood by those ignorant persons who rail against the lack of divine intervention or guidance. In these times, mankind is not advanced for the divine veil to be any more intrusive or withdrawn. And even in the greater light of the good religion, it will not be removed. The two realms of spirit and matter, mind and body, must remain separated by a near impassable gulf, which can be spanned only by the utmost effort. So our life is in the world, and the world needs work, and our work is to improve the world. The inner life. As we do that, what is the state of our inner life? Our time is hungry in spirit. In some unnoticed way, we have managed to inflict severe surgery on ourselves. We have separated soul from experience, become utterly taken up with the outside world, and allowed the interior to shrink. Like a stream that disappears underground, there remains on the surface only the slightest trickle. When we devote no time to the inner life, we lose the habit of soul. We become accustomed to keeping things at surface level. The deeper questions about who we are and what we are here for visit us less and less. If we allow time for soul, we will come to sense its dark and luminous depth. If we fail to acquaint ourselves with soul, we will remain strangers in our own lives. The secret sustenance of our inner lives in this world now. On certain birthdays, the shape of our unfolding life comes into clearer view. Because we are netted into the webbing of each day's chores and duties, we seldom see the shape our lives have taken. When we look back, we can identify the key thresholds where the vital happenings of our lives occurred. These were usually the times when we were confronted with decisions about the paths we wanted to travel. Perhaps there were 7 of these decisive thresholds in your life up to now. When you look at each threshold, you see that you had several choices at each point. You could always choose only one path. In this way, the person you are today is the result of the path you chose. Out of these choices, you have inherited and shaped your chosen life. This is the life you live now. This is the person you have become. When you visit these thresholds, you will see how you chose your life. The interesting question is, what happened to the lives you once had options but did not choose? Where do they dwell? Perhaps your unlived lives run parallel to your current life and, in some subtle way, continue to influence the choices you make. All this might be happening beside you and in you, yet unknown to you. Maybe these unlived yet still unfolding lives are the sustenance from which your chosen life draws. Maybe this is one of the secrets of death, that you die only when your invisible, unchosen lives have also fulfilled themselves, so that you bring into the eternal world not only your one known life, but also the unknown, unchosen lives as well. Maybe your visible life is but the outer edge of a whole enterprise of creativity and realization in which you are unknowingly involved. This unseen ground of your unfolding in the world is a place that needs blessing and holds the key to the invisible. Blessing strengthens the network of presence you carry through the world. So, what is this sense of being whole? The query of you being whole. For many personal management courses I've done, the training I've had as teacher, being whole, being complete, is honoring and respecting all of those bodies that make us human. So it's not only the spiritual, it's our mental, it's our emotional bodies, it's our physical body. Are we well? Are you well? In all areas, are you well? Do you speak yourself? The self you know, the self you claim. Do you speak yourself? The self, not the personality. I'm not talking about performance. We're talking about being, a being. This being of divine authority who's chosen to play on this plane. And as it was said in the other words said prior, to manage this plane, to contribute to this plane of life. And in so doing, and challenging yourself, fulfilling your spiritual development. Who are you? What do you really, really want? Are you authentic in expressing what you really, really want? Do you take actions consistent with the world you say you're committed to, that you're committed to create and live in and offer? Sometimes when we look out, the world seems so dark. War, violence, hunger, misery, and now this pandemic seem to abound. This makes us anxious and helpless. What can I do in my private little corner of life that could have any effect on the march of world events? The usual answer is nothing. We then decide to do what we can for our own and leave the great events to their domain. Thus, we opt out and join the largest majority in the world, those who acquiesce. Believing ourselves to be helpless, we hand over all our power to forces and systems outside us that often act in our names, then go on to pursue their beliefs. Believing ourselves to be helpless, I repeat. We hand over all our power to forces and systems outside us that then act in our names. Then they go on and pursue and put on their beliefs. They're putting their beliefs into action. And ironically, these actions are often sinister and destructive. We live in times when the call to full and critically aware citizenship could not be more urgent. We need to rediscover the careless courage, yet devastating simplicity of the little boy who, in the middle of the numbed multitude, in naive Socratic fashion, blurts out, "But the emperor has no clothes." When spoken, the word of truth can bring down citadels of falsity. Real presence is the ideal of all true individualization. Real presence is the ideal of all true individuation. Your being present authentically is the ideal of expressing yourself as a whole being. It's the essence of who you are as an individual. Your presence, your real presence. When we yield to helplessness, we strengthen the hand of those who would destroy. When we choose indifference, we betray our world. Yet the world is not decided by action alone. It is decided more by consciousness and spirit. They are the secret sources of all actions and behavior. The spirit of a time is an incredibly subtle yet hugely powerful force, and it is comprised of the mentality and spirit of all individuals together. Therefore, the way you look at things is not simply a private matter. Your outlook actually and concretely affects what goes on. When you give in to helplessness, you collude with despair and add to it. When you take back your power and choose to see the possibilities for healing and transformation, your creativity awakens and flows to become an active force of renewal and encouragement in the world. In this way, even in your own hidden life, you can become a powerful agent of transformation in a broken, darkened world. There is a huge force field that opens when intention focuses and directs itself toward transformation. When intention focuses. Intention is you human. You with your mental and emotional and physical needs and demands, your talents and your gifts, your sins and your accomplishments, your shame and your grace. You fully present. Yes, all of you. Who you are fully living this life, whole out, all out, full blast. Falling sometimes, but getting up, and offering the guy next to you the hand up. Blessing each other after blessing ourselves. Blessing each other after blessing ourselves. That's the presence that you carry out into the world. Who you are, what you really, really want, what you have your attention on. What you have your attention on draws energy to it. When you hide out, for whatever justification, when you hide out, when you turn yourself inward, when your eyeballs are in, and what's going on in here is more important than your participation out here, things go awry. Things go awry. Not only in your private life, but because you've withdrawn your energy and your participation, they go awry out here. They go awry out here. Some of the things that you could be looking at now, this is like a new time now. We're dealing with a pandemic. Nothing that we've seen on this planet since 1918. So there's things to look at and things to do. There's no time for any pity parties. There's no time for any pity parties because we are all dealing with pain right now, pain of the change, what we've given up, who we can't be with, how the holidays won't be celebrated the way we're used to. Some of us having been sick, some of us having lost to someone to this sickness. The disparity between our lifestyles from February, March to now. There's been a lot that's been thrown at us. But at all of us, and all of us coming together with our focus on healing the world, healing ourselves and healing the world, there's a reach. And we can now begin to see it if we're looking into the news. There'll be vaccines. They'll carry us forward. Maybe by the end of next summer, things will be back to normal. But look now, and see where, it's kind of like the story of Scrooge, past, present, and future. Look now and see how your absence from certain situations, social situations, family situations, work situations, community search. Look now as to what the absence has cost in forward movement. Look now to see where your conscious presence now, your commitment to be present now, can actually make a difference. And it can be leaps and bounds. There's nothing linear here. It can be leaps and bounds that we go back now out into the planet and bring life and love. Now, some of the things from this one woman I really respect her writings and her work is Lorna Bevan. And she talks now about what the opportunities are in this kind of like new century that we're going into. There have been changes in your life. Make them permanent. Make them permanent if you see that they've impacted the quality of your life. No tinkering. No tinkering. Pick causes you can do something about. You can do something about where you are, where you live, where you travel. Engage where you are. Engage where you are. What's going on around you? Act local, but think global. Find causes that feed your soul personally, socially, spiritually, collectively. Commit when you commit 100%. Begin to eliminate distractions that pull you away from what you say you're going to do. And I really want you to know, folks, keeping your word gives you such stature, not only in your life, because you don't want to count on somebody you can't count on, But they really, I want you to know that that's your backbone. And when you do not keep your word, it diminishes you. It will disempower you. It's really important. It doesn't mean give your word all the time, but it doesn't mean withhold it either because you don't want to break your word. It means give your word, get out there, be present, show up where you're going to show up when you said you're going to show up. Even if you don't know what's going to happen when you get there, showing up is 90%. Begin to refuse to be a consumer in your life. Know when enough is enough. Don't buy more than you need. So don't be a mindless consumer. Become a citizen participant in sharing resources. Streamline your life, budget, save, recycle. Make financial independence your priority. Take concrete steps to becoming self-supporting and self-sustaining. Invest your time, your money, and your energy into what really matters. And I'm going to emphasize here again, we all know how to budget our money. Well, in fact, a lot of us probably spend more of our time worrying about that. But I want you to know that we've disempowered ourselves when we haven't managed our time. That when we say we're going to get some things done and we get distracted, we don't manage the distraction. We're all going to get distracted. We don't manage it and we don't return ourselves to the project at hand. And really, most importantly, we do not manage our energy. We do not manage our energy. And as we said several lessons ago, that's where energy vampires have their opportunity, when they can come in and take you away from what you said you were committed to, who you said you were committed to, what you said you were committed to accomplish. Because what they want or what they say is more important. Be responsible for managing your energy. How did I spend this day? Wake up out of bed with an intention and go to bed accounting for. Did you fulfill on that intention? Persist, even in overwhelm. Persist. And track the information about the ecology of where you live, the home, the community, the country, the continent, the world. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to the gas you use and the heat you use. Pay attention. Be responsible. So, being a creative change agent on the planet now, having known the planet has gone through so much abuse and the people on it have suffered so much, there is, frankly, every little action can make a big difference in your life and the life of the people around you. Bless yourself. Bless the people around you. Bless the space you live in. And as we're going into the holidays, use the holiday, the spirit of the holiday. Create the spirit of the holiday. We're celebrating the birth, in some cases, in many cases, and I know this is mostly Christian, but the idea of it, the birth of Christ, master, healer, teacher, brother, his physical life so many thousands of years ago. But understand that that's a moment to always celebrate because he hasn't gone anywhere, fellas. He stands here as I speak to smile at his availability, to be your partner in fulfilling on your spiritual development. He's your partner. But as we're celebrating it, and there's Christmas carols, and there's Christmas decorations, and there's Christmas music, or whatever the holiday is around you, embrace it. Embrace it. Let it lift you. Allow it to lift you. Bring things to your spirit, to your heart. Have a life you want. Live the life you want. Be whole and complete. And as you're of service to yourself, to your loved ones, to your community, you're doing actually what Jesus is saying the divine expected. Lift the planet. That's how you will honor the divine who put you here. Lift the planet. Lift the planet. So now we have a song from Ronnie, and then we'll have a closing prayer.
This song's Here's to Life by Artie Butler and Phyllis Molinari. No complaints and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets. And I have learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you've got. I've had my share, I drank my fill, and even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still to see what's down another road beyond the hill and do it all again. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. It's funny how the time just flies, how love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes, and leave you with the memories you've memorized to keep your winters warm. For there's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I'm still in the game I wanna play, for laughs, for life, for love. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. Here's to life.
Thanks, Ronnie. Closing prayer. Spirit, cover me. Spirit, fill me. Spirit, walk with me through the darkness, through the cold, through the places sometimes my soul shouldn't go, but where my soul troubles do. When all around me is in constant change, be the truth I am tethered to. When my faith falters, please give me the strength to trust. When I want to give up and lay down, please lift me up. In the world of illusion and distractions, in this world of trials and tribulation, I pray to you. I pray to you, please. Be my guide. Be my light. Help me through. Amen. Have a great week. Enjoy yourself. Be who you really, really, really want to be. Access some of those unknown lives that you want to go back and visit. Have it all, my friends. Have it all. I love you. Namaste.